Hello friends, welcome back to another episode, and if your bumhole's already feeling itchy, we're sorry about it. We're actually got the creeps even talking about this. Why did you pick this topic?
Because it came up in clinic.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
And I was like, that's a good podcast topic. And also,
okay,
I also feel a bit like I want to clench my bumhole.
yeah.
It's just...
Oh, we're just going to grit our teeth and get through this together.
I don't have a problem treating it in clinic, as in like it doesn't gross me out when I'm talking about it with clients, but there's something about thinking deeply about it in terms of how I want to explain the details in this episode.
Yes.
That has me going, and every like slight itch on my whole body, I'm like, where'd that come from?
Oh.
Was that a bum itch or are we fine?
Oh, God. I mean... Yes. If anyone caught the episode where I said I felt like I had something where it shouldn't be, potential worm called Walter, he's threatening an appearance right now. Anyway, without further ado, let's just get this out of the way.
Yeah, and not trigger warning, but like content warning.
Yeah.
If you're about to eat, don't.
No, come back or
if you're
don't.
about to shit, probably appropriate that you're listening to this, but also clean your phone after you go in the bathroom.
Jesus.
And on that note,
let's dive right in. All right. Well, look. So what I'll say is there are over 140 different parasites we could possibly have.
Wonderful.
Just if you weren't feeling grossed out enough. But we're going to just zoom in on worms specifically and the 5 most common types that we could get. Yummy. So we have first star of the show is threadworms, also known as pinworms. You can have roundworms, hookworms, tapeworms, and there's also strongyloides. I don't know why they got such a fun name, which are thread-like worms, so they're wannabe pinworms, basically. So yuck. But they are, of course, ubiquitous on planet Earth, and if you have a human body, there's a very good chance you're going to have worms at some point in your life, especially if you have pets, kids, or travel. So, starting off strong with pinworms, also called threadworms. These are the type that often get transmitted through eggs, like a hand-to-mouth thing, which is hopefully not an issue as an adult. Like, hopefully you wash your hands after the bathroom, but I immediately had a thought of a kid itching, putting their hands down their pants and itching their bum, and then putting their hands in their mouth. So, there's that. And, of course, those eggs can end up anywhere across bedding, door handles, things like that. So any kind of shared surfaces can be a source of reinfection, which means if these come up, there's like a full DEFCON 5 sanitation project that's going to unfold. You're going to explain that very shortly. Then we have roundworms, which are soil-based. So you'll find these eggs in the soil, so this is why you should wash your fruit and vegetables before you eat them, even if they're organic, because there's organic roundworms. They're pesticide free, but they're still roundworms. Also, contaminated water is another source of that. Then we have hookworms, which hook into your intestinal tract. I know. Oh, my intestines just involuted.
Yeah, just did a little spasm.
Yeah. Thinking
you're okay,
that.
guys. Everything's fine.
And these you can pick up walking barefoot on contaminated soil. Now, this breaks my heart a bit because I like to be barefoot everywhere.
I reckon I must have a hookworm then. I mean, I don't walk on intentional contaminated soil, but I walk without shoes a lot.
This could do you a favour. They feed on blood and can cause anemia, and with someone with hemochromatosis, this could actually be quite helpful.
Maybe I just need a hookworm.
A little symbiotic relationship. Shall I pick you up some down the park?
Yeah, let's do it.
God, they look pretty foul though, so maybe not. But yeah, usually they pick up, the larvae penetrate your skin, usually the feet, and go from there. Tapeworms. Oh God, do you remember there was a phase where supermodels were eating tapeworms to cause weight loss?
Oh, no.
It's the old Ozempic.
Wow.
Because they steal all your nutrients from your food, so you're starving. You can keep eating. Your mouth can be
Well,
full.
I definitely don't have a tapeworm, so
Neither do I. We can collectively
I have a tapeworm
deficiency. Yeah, I could do with a tapeworm or two. Yuck. But these are picked up from undercooked or raw meat, usually beef or pork. Pork, I've got the absolute heebie-jeebies about pork, and I will eat it, but I am really particular about that being cooked. Unfortunately, I do like a medium rare steak though. So anyway, so far, no tapeworm. But, you know, it's definitely a possibility.
If we see you lose a lot of weight, we'll be like,
yeah.
she's gone too raw.
She's gone too raw. I know. What's that? Beef tartare?
Oh, I've never had it.
I've tried it. I don't know what the appeal is, to be fair.
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy it. It was fine, but it was not nice either. So no chance of me picking it up from that. And lastly, the strongyloides who just want to be threadworms. These are quite serious, the strongyloides, by the way. So if you have these, you need to go to the doctor and get drugs. But these also you can get from skin contact with contaminated soil, but they can be quite seriously bad and can be tricky to get rid of. So look, in summary, you know, not washing your hands properly, biting your nails, not washing your produce, undercooked meat, contaminated soil, which might be more of a risk if you're big into gardening or farming, perhaps. And of course, close contact in a household, especially with young children or pets, can be, certainly a really big issue. And what I will say is you're more at risk of getting worms if you have low hydrochloric acid production, low secretory IgA. Those innate parts of your defense system can sometimes keep those things at bay. So if someone's doing all the right things but keep getting reinfected, I'd be looking at the terrain, of course. But generally speaking, they're just a part of our natural world. And with some good practices, you can reduce your risk quite significantly of getting one.
Yeah. And look, most people are probably going to have them at some point, particularly if you have children, just because children are very susceptible to them. And even with your best adult hand washing, kids, you know, they're sticky. They are going to touch surfaces and their food and your food and put, you know, their fingers near your face and
in your mouth.
In your mouth, yeah, exactly. And so I think it's good to know what the signs and symptoms are of worms and then to do something about it sooner rather than later, because I think the quicker you control an outbreak or an infection and the more you do something about it in quite a thorough way, the less likely it is to become like a real recurring issue. And that does happen. I'm sure we've both seen it in clinic where, you know, particularly kids and therefore the whole family at times just get into this loop of like, we just can't seem to shake them.
God.
Which is rough, really rough.
So
in terms of, I guess, just signs and symptoms of having worms, itchy bum is definitely one of them. If you have an itchy bum, you should definitely get that checked out. I'd also say that changes to your appetite, so a low appetite, losing weight, changes to sleep, like difficulty with sleeping or sleep issues that feel unexplainable by other reasons, or that come on quite suddenly for you or your children. Behavioural changes, so we see this a lot in children, and often it's more this cycle of itchy bum, worms are active at night, not getting good sleep, and then more tired, more just off behaviourally and emotionally. So that's another really good thing to kind of look out for. The other thing can also be if you're noticing in girls, and this can be young girls but also adults, that there are kind of UTI-like symptoms or there's any vulval or vaginal itching or irritation, because, I hate having to say this, but the adult worms, they come out when you're sleeping. So they make their way out to your bum hole and then they lay their eggs. I think it's something like 16,000 eggs can be laid by a single female worm.
Stop.
And then
in one night.
And then
Ew.
those worms can, I'm pretty sure it was 16,000, maybe it was 1,600. That's a big difference, but who cares?
Either way,
it's
that
a
is
lot.
terrifying.
Anyway, and those eggs and the worms can locate into our other hole, into our vagina. So that's why in young girls or in adult women, you can kind of get this overlap in symptoms, and then that's a whole other thing you need to treat as well. So it's just good to be aware that that's also something that could be a red flag for you, particularly if you're a parent, but again, also if you're just a woman that's experiencing that. I think those are probably the most common ones that I would say, and the ones that you'll notice most frequently in a bit of a cluster. And then in terms of confirming whether worms are there or not, there's probably the most accurate way to actually test for them is doing something called the sticky tape test, which is 90% accurate when done on 3 consecutive nights, or days, I should say. So what you do is you get a like clear sticky tape, and you actually put sticky tape on like right around the anus where the hole is, and you then you leave it there for a certain period of time. And I would say do this for those 3 days, but what you want to do is then get it examined under a microscope. So you can't actually see the eggs with your naked eye. You can see the worms with your naked eye, and they look like little kind of 1/4 to 1/2 inch like thread-like things, but you can't see the eggs. They are microscopic. So that's where you'll often be able to get a pathology form basically from the doctor to collect the eggs on the sticky tape, and then you could then, in a sterile container that would be provided to you, you take that to the lab and they look at it under a microscope. So there's that way. There's also the old torch up the bum. Torch, not up the bum, torch on the bum. Like as in this is, I guess, more something that you would do as a parent, which I'm pretty sure my mum had to do for me when I was a kid. I asked when I was preparing for this episode, I was like, have I ever had worms? And she was like, oh yeah, I remember shining a torch up your bum. And I'm like, great, good times. Thanks for that. Anyway, so you can actually, while the child is sleeping, your child, not any child, please don't do this without great permission and relationship, you can actually shine a torch around where the bum hole is, and you will actually see them, sometimes see them crawling around or out. So not as accurate as the sticky tape test. And obviously I'm just thinking of a scenario, if you are in, an adult couple, I don't know, I probably wouldn't shine a torch up. I love Bowen so much, but if he suspected he had worms, I'd be more likely just to treat it than I would to
investigate.
Yeah. Like that, we're not a couple that, like, we fart in front of each other. We're not, we're not that couple that just does nothing in front of each other. But I think I draw the line at shining a torch up his bum hole.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I'd necessarily want someone doing that for me either.
No,
I'd rather
in that
Cirque du Soleil
dynamic.
it in the bathroom and try and have a look myself.
Yeah.
Or treat it.
I think I'd just do the sticky tape thing or treat it. But anyway, our personal preferences aside, that's just something to know. So I think it's really good to just be aware of that is how you diagnose it accurately, and also, that it's not accurate just to get a general stool test for them. So you're far better off, and it's going to be far more cost effective for you to just do the sticky tape test.
Yes. Oh, goodness me. Sellotapes in for a boom, aren't they?
Man.
It makes me feel really uncomfortable just thinking about it. But also I feel like, do I need to check myself now?
Yeah. I know, I'm kind of feeling like
I think just
having this conversation is making me feel like I just want to take wormy tabs.
I know. Let's just go down to the chemist and get some Combantrin.
Yeah, sounds good.
Well, look, on that note, we're going to talk about naturopathic and herbal approaches, of course. But what I will say is that herbal medicines, especially the anthelmintic, well, actually all herbal medicines are a bit rough on the palate, but the ones that we use for worms are really brutal. And if I had a child, I just don't actually think I would want to put my child through the herbs. I know there are some mums that absolutely do. I've had them in my clinic, and there are ways you can make herbal medicines taste better, but they are pretty rough. So I will often suggest just using an over-the-counter option initially. Now, of course, you want to be sure of the diagnosis, which is not our job to do, but usually the parents are all across what's actually happening. And in that case, there's really kind of two main ingredients or medications here in Australia, mebendazole or pyrantel embonate. Hoping I'm saying those correctly.
Those are very smooth.
Thank you. And those are, I guess, the generic names of things that are known by their brand names like Vermox or Combantrum. And they both work slightly differently. They can be used in combination. One is sometimes better for certain types of worms than the other. What I will say, though, is with certain worms, you might need to treat a couple of times in a row because eggs that are already present might then hatch, and then you've got a reinfection, but it's just that the full, pathogen load wasn't cleared. Actually, on that note, regardless of if you're treating an adult or a child, you also want to make sure they're having regular bowel motions and enough fibre to actually sweep everything through as well. And there would be other considerations required if the person was prone to constipation. But if we're looking at mebendazole, which is Combantrin 1 or Vermox, these actually work by starving the worms of glucose. But what I will say is going sugar-free or carb-free in your diet isn't going to be enough to get rid of them. So you can't go keto or carnivore and think, haha, I'm going to starve you, you little monkeys.
You want to die at worms.
Yeah. It's not, they'll take the glucose. We actually secrete a mucosal biofilm that is a glycocalyx and we have sugars in that glycocalyx. So they'll just keep feeding on our gut lining, regardless of if you never touch another carb for the rest of your life. So that is not a strategy.
So don't do that sad reality.
Don't do
yourself.
that. I mean, by all means, we're not promoting you consume sugar either, but you can't outstarve them. So that's one option. The other medication, commonly known as Combantrin, works by paralyzing the worms, which means they can't feed themselves and they auto-intoxicate. And I
feel like I'm going to break into a sweat soon.
I know. there is die-off effect regardless of if you used herbal or pharmaceutical, and we do have tools to help reduce that, which can look like nausea, vomiting, skin stuff. It's a whole other story, but that is really a big one. But taking medication's not enough, is it? We have to up the ante on hygiene practices.
Yeah, it's a full-time job, and if you don't do it properly, you are increasing your chances of reinfection. Okay. So the medications kill the actual adult worms. Mm-hmm. They do not kill the eggs, and the eggs can survive for up to 2 weeks. So,
outside of the body,
yes,
is that what you're saying?
Yes. So you need to make sure, and also they can't kill immature worms, which are still inside the body.
Yes,
so
the juveniles.
Yes, those damn juveniles.
Delinquents.
On their little worm e-bikes just zooming out.
Being a menace to society.
Oh my goodness. So it's really important that you do a few things. So first things first, you want to make sure that hand hygiene is elite. So that's one thing. And obviously really hard to police in kids. Yeah. But also I've seen plenty of adults who don't wash their hands properly. And I know that it's easy to just run your hands underwater, half pump the soap and just walk out of there. But if you've got worms, don't take the risk. Or if you've got worms in the house, don't take the risk, because it might not be you that has the worms, but you'll very easily get them. So that's one thing. The other thing is you want to make sure that you're washing all of your bedding and your towels, your hand towels, and the underwear and clothing that you slept in for the person who is infected with the worms. I'd probably also go to the extent of doing it for the people in the house that aren't, if it was me personally, just because I think that some people can carry them and not know about it. And if you're already in close proximity, I'd just be a little sus on it. Yes. So I would be doing that, and you want to actually do that at least 60 degrees in terms of temperature when you're washing these things. And then either you can put it in a hot dryer or in the sun. Some people say hot dryer, but I personally just say do it at 60 degrees and then dry it in the sun. And you actually want to do that like daily if you can for 2 weeks. For the stuff that is really in close proximity to you when you are sleeping or drying yourself. The other really important thing is when you wake up in the morning, for those first 2 weeks, you also want to have a shower to wash away any eggs that were laid around your anus overnight when those eggs do get laid. And you're not going to see them. You're not going to be like, oh, yep, like,
look at this
Happy
guy.
Easter. Yeah, wash them down the drain. Like, you are just going to have to trust that they are there. Yes. You want to wash them away. You also want to not, so if you sleep in underwear, which I would recommend that you do while you're trying to contain the egg situation, is you want to make sure that you wash those same underwear that next morning. Don't just like live your day in the underwear, even if you only put them on before bed.
Wow.
So doing that, and then also when you are collecting the bedding, you want to make sure that you don't just like rip the bedding off and have it like fly everywhere, because the eggs can actually become airborne.
Oh Lord. I feel this is an episode of like 28 days. You know, like this is the pandemic no one's talking about.
So I think it's really important to like fold it carefully in on itself and take it straight to the washing machine.
Just get a hazmat suit and be done with it.
Just move houses.
Just fumigate that. Burn it to the ground and go.
Also, stuffed like animal, like toys and stuff. If your children sleep with those, that would be another thing that I'd be putting through the wash with all of that other stuff. So, yeah, it's a real full-time job, and I'm sure that at one point, or some people don't go to that extent, and maybe they're lucky and they clear the infection anyway, but that is the degree at which you should go to if you're really trying to kick the infection. And you want to do that religiously for 2 weeks, and then after that 2-week period, you just want to, you know, still wash your bedding frequently as you normally would, and towels, etc., but you don't have to go to that same extreme extent.
And retreat so that the juveniles that grew up,
exactly,
take them out of the game.
Yeah, that's right. You're gone, little fuckers.
It's like Call of Duty, but microbiome landscape.
It's a shame you can't see them. I feel like it would be a little bit more satisfying to be like, yeah, got ya.
Yeah, see ya, you little
like
stowaway.
laser tag. Yeah. So what else? Is there anything else? Oh, and also I would say disinfecting like high touch surfaces. So like the toilet flushing lid, toilet flushing button, the toilet lid, your toilets definitely, because you will, you know, any area where it's, you know,
remnants.
Basically door handles that you frequently touch. And then also just be really diligent, particularly around washing your hands and disinfecting surfaces before meal prep, just because that is a time where it's easy, you know, you're obviously touching food and then you're putting that food in your body. So if there are eggs on those surfaces or on your food, you're then putting those eggs into your body, and then they're going
recycling.
Yes, exactly.
In the bad way.
Yeah, it's not the kind of recycling we want.
We're not into that, no. And for God's sake, if you don't put the toilet seat down to flush, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It creates a plume of bacteria in your toilet. But I don't know how, if those eggs are that small, there's a very good chance they could also be liberated, airborne, 28 days. I'm telling you now, I'm going to Bunnings to get a hazmat suit this afternoon.
Oh, also you reminded me, change your toothbrush.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because of course that could be another source of...
Yeah.
I do that anytime I get sick, like a cold or... I mean, you're supposed to change it every 3 months, which I do religiously. But if I got sick with something, like a flu or something, as soon as I was coming out the other side, I would offload that.
Yeah,
too.
and even more important, just on the toilet thing, outside of even the worm situation, if you have a toilet that is in the same place as
the rest of your
bathroom
butt.
sink,
I know where you're going with this.
You need to make sure you close that damn lid and put your toothbrush, even put your toothbrush in a drawer or in a container where it can't then be contaminated by
with airborne
particulate.
particulate.
It's so funny that we're like squirming up about this when we talk about coffee enemas all of the time. And
anyway. I mean, we talk about some heinous things, but this is the thing that's sending us over the edge.
It's just I feel when I'm talking about it, it's that I feel that feel really, what's the word? Violated. That's how I feel.
It's another life form. Is that it?
I feel violated in my time of vulnerability and rest at night. That's how I'm thinking about it. That's why I'm getting the squirms. It's not like the quote unquote grossness of it. And I don't think people are dirty if you have it, because I think it is easy to catch and unfortunate. It's like when I'm thinking about it in my own personal body, I'm like, I feel violated.
I did
thinking
not
that
invite
a
you
whole
in.
life is being lived while I sleep. Rude.
And stealing my nutrients.
Yeah.
That's organic grade
And
food,
not even,
baby.
Yeah.
You didn't pay for that. Get out.
At least pay a tax, God damn it.
I reckon. Where's the benefit? Although for you with the hookworms maybe lowering your iron, maybe that one's
It's not enough.
It's paying the rent.
It's not enough. I'm raising the prices.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm definitely getting
Can we just
sellotaped
confirm
tonight.
for anyone who's like tuned in halfway, I don't have hookworms.
Yet. There's still time, Nat. There's still time.
all right,
we get Rhonda on the flashlight.
She'd still do it. My mum would
Your
still
mum is the
flashlight.
best.
Yeah,
Shout
we
out
have
to
that kind of
Rhonda.
relationship.
Yeah,
It's-
you do.
it's,
You wouldn't let Bowen go there, but Mum, come right up.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And also me with my receipt tongs when your enema tip went missing. I'll do the worm inspecting, darling.
I'd let you, actually. You're probably one of the few
Yeah.
people I would.
Okay.
I wouldn't enjoy it, but I'd
Yeah,
be
yeah.
like,
Well, look,
you can do it.
I wouldn't personally get thrills out of it either, but I would do it for you. I would. I love you that much.
All right.
Oh,
well,
Jesus. All right. Herbal treatment. Let's race through these. There's a bunch of anthelmintic herbs. The top 3 in Western herbal medicine that I love: wormwood, black walnut, clove, just heavy hitters. There are others. Neem's another favorite. Garlic. Garlic is also a nice one just in the diet to keep them down. Thyme, back to thyme. If you listen to our winter episode, you'll know I'm a big fan of thyme and the way that it's eliminated through our mucosal membranes. And there's a few other things like nigella, also called black seed. Pomegranate's also really helpful, particularly for tapeworms. But depending on the herb, some of them are more broad spectrum, like wormwood. I mean, it's in the name. Hello. Black walnut hull, also really powerful, and really coupled with clove. That's just the 3 amigos of getting those little squatters out of your...
That's the SWAT team you want in there.
The SWAT team, all right, the herbal SWAT team. And then you could, of course, add garlic into your diet or take it as a herbal tincture or perhaps a supplement. I do really love neem, and that one is more common in Ayurvedic protocols. For parasites, it's also an antifungal. A lot of these have crossover with antimicrobial, antifungal effects, which can be beneficial because when the microbiome has gone sideways, there's often fungal overgrowth, yeast, candida, other things. So it's just kind of a bit of a broad spectrum, more broad spectrum than pharmaceuticals. So this is, I suppose, one of the advantages if there's generally dysbiotic landscape and environment internally. You can sort of get, a nice widespread type of effect. But what I will say is there are, and of course black seed in your diet as well, and specifically pomegranate is great for tapeworm, getting rid of tapeworms. But what I will say about that is some of these types of worms are easy enough to treat, and as long as you're sort of treating in 2 phases, so you get the, eggs that are hatching and the juveniles, so it may even be 3 sessions. That's great, but there's a couple of other things that I would also recommend. So number 1, when you take antifungals or herbs that are antifungal and anthelmintic, they can, or specifically if they're antimicrobial as well, which most of them are, they can wipe out some of your good bacteria. And so my personal approach to this, or professional approach, and I'd love to hear what you do, is to always follow up with a probiotic afterwards. So that's probably one thing that I would say I do all the time. Number 2, usually when we see these types of infections kick off, there is a concomitant loss of secretory IgA or insufficient production. So I'll often include in a protocol something to address that. but you can't use those things side by side because the thing that we use to raise secretory IgA is killed off by antimicrobials. So that's a bit tricky. And now the other thing is when I'm doing herbal anti-parasitic protocols is to catch the life cycle of the eggs, which is typically 21 days. I always do 2 weeks on, 1 week off, and then 2 weeks on, because the eggs won't hatch if they know the environment is toxic to them. But then you allow that 7 days for them to hatch. So then you've got another 2 week sweep and then a probiotic formula. It might look different depending on what you've got, what else is going on. But generally speaking, that's actually not my wisdom, by the way. Hilda Hems, who's a very famous herbalist, that's considered her cadence. Now, there might be other reasons why it gets done differently. I've definitely modified it for clients depending on what's going on. So if you get a anti-parasitic protocol that doesn't look like a 2-1-2 formula, don't panic. But essentially the spirit of it is you need to treat initially, allow the eggs to hatch, treat again before they mature enough to lay their own eggs. Yes.
Right.
Everyone, do we need an electrolyte break?
Oh, God. I don't know if I just want to put anything near my mouth right now.
Neither.
Okay. Well, I have a few things to add to that that's less about supplementation, but more about just other things that you can do. So one thing I would say is you can use a neem oil on nails if you are a nail biter or your children are.
Such a good idea.
Just to, it's, as you said, it is...
anthelmintic?
Yep, anthelmintic. I would never say that word because it's so hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is antimicrobial generally and also tastes like shit, so it's going to discourage your children or you from actually biting your nails. Also, keep nails short. That's another really important thing.
Good tip.
The other thing you can do is you can actually get... I often recommend a nasal spray that has some antimicrobial herbs in it, So usually something that's like saline based but has some xylitol, maybe some golden seal, some bakel skullcap, some like something that you can actually spray into your nostrils for a couple of reasons.
Clever. Propolis?
Yeah. Oh, propolis, that'd be good too. Yep. So again, like if you or your children are nose pickers, that is a bit of a antimicrobial situation happening in your nasal passages if you're using the nasal spray. Also, if there are any airborne eggs, then that can also help with when you're breathing in, that they're also going to first come into contact with an environment that is not very pleasant for them to be in terms of that antimicrobial, so we can kind of try and wash them out. The other thing you can also do that I often do is use a barrier cream around the bum hole at night. So there's a particular one that I use that's made by a company called Araya that you wouldn't have access to unless you're a practitioner. But for those practitioners that are listening, it's their Araya's barrier cream. And I think there's a whole... Actually, I'll save that for another time. Anyway, you can use a barrier cream. Essentially, it just helps to deter the worms from coming out and laying eggs at night. So good thing to use. And also, it does help to soothe any itching that's happening. And again, the less scratching that's happening from the itching, the less likely you are to spread the eggs. And that's true in adults or children. What else do I use? Oh, yes. The other thing which I learnt from one of my mentors, Rachel Arthur, is chondroitin sulfate, which also just helps your whole system be a less habitable environment for the worms to actually exist in. So won't go down the rabbit hole of all the ins and outs of that, but that's another tool that we can use naturopathically to help, particularly in quite resistant infections. And then the final thing I would say is if you are in a situation where your child or you are having this recurrent issue and you're like, I'm doing all these things and I'm just not able to get on top of it, something that I would look into is whether or not you have a particular bacteria called D. fragilis, Dientamoeba fragilis or D. frag. It can act as a vector for those eggs and be a source of like why you're struggling to get on top of it. And it's not that if you have D. frag, it always needs to be treated in the absence of any other issues, because sometimes it can exist in a gut without causing issues. But if you're having this issue of recurrence, then and you've got defrag, in my opinion and experience, it's worth then treating both of those things.
Yes. Very good advice. It's not as straightforward as just take a worming tablet and Bob's your uncle.
No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. And you'll need to quit your job temporarily to clean your house.
You'd be constantly sterilising. My God. Yeah. Well, shout out to all the mums who've been through this. Can't say I know your pain directly, but that sounds so hectic.
Yeah.
And if anyone made it to the end without scratching your bumhole
or thinking you have worms.
Yeah, congratulations. Thanks for sticking with us. And look, I think the long and the short of it is this is definitely something you should get professional support for, whether you see your doctor, do a few rounds of treatment, or use a combination approach or a natural approach. But as Nat said, it's not as simple as just taking something and you're done with it. There's a lot of other elements to consider. So if you want to do it properly, I would definitely get professional help.
Well, on that note, enjoy whatever you're doing next.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, friends.
Bye.